To work closely with a killer whale in a marine park requires experience, intuition, athleticism, and a whole lot of dramatic flair. Killer whales, also called orcas, are the largest of the dolphins and one of the world's most powerful predators. They feast on marine mammals such as seals, sea lions, and even other whales, employing their teeth that can be up to 4 inches long into them. Orcas are highly social animals that travel in groups called pods. Pods usually consist of 5 to 30 whales, although some pods can combine to form a group of 100 or more. Orcas establish social hierarchies, and the pods are often led by females. Killer whales were always in the wild until Ted Griffin changed that all. In 1965, Griffin purchased an 8,000-pound whale for $8,000. After arriving back to his home, he made a pin for this whale, which he called Namu, and this forever changed the lives of whales. SeaWorld was a fast-growing marine park that purchased Shamu in December of 1965 from Griffin and his partner Goldsberry for $70,000. Over the next decade, 300 killer whales were caught and sold to parks around the world. In 1972, Marine Mammal Protection Act prohibited the taking of killer whales from the U.S. waters. Although SeaWorld continued to receive the whales because they used a permit to allow educational displays. In 1983, a whale named Tilikum was captured. At 11.5 feet long and 2 years old, this whale was put into a holding tank and only could cruise around in circles or lie flat on the surface. Finally, in 1984, a year later, he was transferred to a park called Sealand. While at Sealand, Tilikum and the 2 other killer whales were shown off at an orca show and kept in a module that was 20 feet wide and 20 feet deep. They stayed in that module for at least 14 hours each night. Whales in captivity tend to find their own entertainment, including things that fall into the pool, where they are by playing keep away from the trainers. The trainers had always been warned about this, but in 1991, a trainer tripped into the pool on accident and was killed by Tilikum and the other whales that were with him. Whales in the wildlife are social. If you put one in a tank, you are taking their social life away. After Tilikum took part in the killing of the trainer, he was sold to SeaWorld for $1 million. At that time, SeaWorld knew what Tilikum had done. They decided that he wouldn't perform with the trainers in the pool. Instead, they would use him to show off his size and his power. He flipped through the air and splashed the crowds. But this wouldn't be the last of Tilikum's victims. Daniel Dukes, just released from jail, managed to stay in the park after hours one night. He decided during the night he was going to jump in the pool and swim with Shamu. The next morning he was found dead in Tilikum's mouth. Also, one of the best trainers at SeaWorld, Dawn, who was on the side of the pool, was pulled in by her hair and killed because Tilikum wouldn't let her go. At this time, SeaWorld has cut off all direct human contact with Tilikum, who has now killed 3 people. Interesting facts about killer whales in the wild is that their dorsal fins stand straight up and proud, and most of the whales in captivity lean over and flop like this. Also, the whales that are in captivity only have a lifespan of 30 years, whereas the ones who live in the wild live up to 50 to 80 years. If these whales would be let out of the tank instead of kept in for breeding and pure entertainment, these accidents wouldn't have happened. It is a known fact that whales in the wild have never hurt anyone. Most come up and are friendly and want you to pet them. Keeping these whales in captivity are taking the lives of the trainers, causing the whales to have shorter lifespan, and are being trapped in a tank nowhere near the size of the ocean, and that's all they have to swim in. SeaWorld needs to be shut down and whales need to be free. Free Tilikum is what you see from protesters outside of SeaWorld. Do you want your money going to an organization that isn't using funds for education, but for pleasure? I hope you will join me and stay away from SeaWorld and free Tilikum and the whales.